everyone, my name's Jacqueline,
Hi, I'm Victoria.
and we are here to talk about metaphor criticism. So the first parts of metaphor criticism are understanding the ways a metaphor combines two different terms that aren't usually related in order to create a comparison. Non-literal, obviously, but the two terms are related through their systems of association, the commonplaces, and used to help define or constitute reality.
So the different parts of the metaphor criticism are the tenor, which is the topic or subject that is being explained, so what you're explaining through your metaphor, and then the vehicle, so that's essentially the lens and how you're painting that picture out, what you're using, and what kind of words, like essentially the vehicle itself that you're using to explain and deliver that metaphor, your perspective, an idea. So an example could be, my ex is such a weasel. So like the connotations of weasel is implying something else. That like, so my ex, that's the idea you're trying to get across, that would be your tenor. And then weasel, the associations and what people usually think of a weasel, that is the vehicle, that's the lens that you're decorating, that you're painting your ex to be like.
So metaphors can be used as decoration. They've been sometimes characterized as embroidery, just embellishment, something that's not very important. Thomas Hobbes was one who thought of metaphors to be abusive, an abusive use of language, because he thought of them only as means to deceive an audience. And Cicero is also another writer who defined metaphors as something that should give clarity to something rather than construe it or make it more difficult to understand.
So metaphors can also be used as a means of constituting reality. So we experience reality through the language we use to describe it. So basically, you're using symbols to construct that reality, and through the use of the tenor, which is your idea, what you want to get across, and the use of a vehicle. So to focusing on particular aspects of the phenomenon and hiding others, so that you essentially show your audience or get across the message and perspective that you want to your audience through the use and decorations of your language.
So an example that we can give of that is describing the metaphor, love is a game. So we think of all the things that make up a game, kind of the specifics that play into the idea of love, of seeing it as something to be won, using it as something that isn't like a very important, something that's just for fun, and understanding this love as a game helps you to understand somebody else's viewpoint if that's the way that they are living their life. Similarly, if we look at the metaphor, life is a journey, we think of like Lord of the Rings or something like that, of like a very long, drawn out journey where you're working towards something. There's all these different difficulties that you go through. You have the people that you're walking with and that whole thing. But if you switch them, if love becomes a journey and we think of life as a game, switching the metaphors automatically changes the meanings of love, the way that we view our lives. And this is what they mean by constituting reality, is using these metaphors to understand a way in which somebody understands larger, more difficult concepts like love or life in general.
And then that construction too, you can also just more in-depthly analyze like how that vehicle is constructed. So it's always coming back to how you construct that vehicle, what kind of lens you choose to associate what you're trying to get across, and how you're trying to get it across is always very much dependent on that vehicle. So another use for metaphor criticism is you can change reality. So when a metaphor is seen as a way of knowing the world, it obtains a particular role in argumentation. So the structure of the metaphor itself has the ability to argue through its use of associated characteristics. Metaphor has the ability to invite audiences to accept the arguments, the arguments, the metaphor, and offers to adopt the given resulting perspective. So this is how, again, just shaping, crafting that vehicle to paint the picture that you want to paint, and then delivering the message that of whatever it is your tenor is, the intended way you want to craft it towards your perspective, or the results you want to get at from your audience, and how you want them to understand it.
Thank you.
Thank you.